Love is not always loud. Sometimes the most powerful messages a man sends are the ones spoken in silence, through actions that slip under the radar. He may never say, "I'm falling for you," in a direct way, but his behavior writes the truth across the moments you share. If you look closely, you'll notice the quiet details, gestures so subtle that others might miss them, yet to you, they carry the weight of something real. Many women wonder, does he really care for me, or is he just passing time? Words can be misleading, but actions rarely are. When a man values you, when he sees you as someone special, he will begin to show it without even realizing it. His mind, his choices, and his habits begin to shift in ways he doesn't plan. These aren't rehearsed performances. They're natural, reflections of how much space you've taken in his heart. Think of it this way: anyone can say the right things when they want to impress you. Compliments and promises are easy to offer, but lasting affection reveals itself through consistency. It's in the way he notices when your mood shifts, or how he makes time to be near you, even when life pulls him in 100 directions. It's in the sacrifices so small that you might overlook them, yet repeated often enough that they weave a clear picture. These signs are not about perfection, they're about presence. He may not always express himself fluently, but his care is found in gestures that don't need translation. His eyes searching for you in a crowded room. His willingness to listen when you speak, not because he has to, but because your words matter to him. The quiet way he remembers things you've said once, even when you've forgotten. When a man begins to show these subtle signs, it means he is not just interested in you, he is emotionally invested. You've become someone he prioritizes, someone whose happiness and comfort affect him personally. These actions might not make headlines, but they create trust, safety, and connection, the foundation of something genuine. What you're about to hear are 12 quiet ways a man reveals you're special to him. Each one may seem small on its own, but together, they form a pattern you can't ignore. They're the kind of signals that prove feelings without ever needing words. As you listen, think about the man in your life and see if you recognize these gestures. If you do, chances are, his heart has already spoken. You just needed to learn the language of his silence. He remembers the little details about you. He remembers the little details about you. And that's where the meaning hides. It's not the grand gestures that reveal someone's true feelings, but the quiet attention he gives to the things you thought went unnoticed. Maybe you mentioned once in passing that your favorite snack is a certain chocolate, and weeks later he shows up with it, casually handing it over like it's no big deal. Or perhaps you talked about a childhood memory that made you laugh, and he brings it up later just to see that same smile return to your face. These are not accidents. They are intentional choices to show he was listening when you thought he might not be. When a man remembers details, it means your words stay with him. They don't just drift into the background noise of his day. They linger. He recalls the way you take your coffee, the song you hum without realizing, the kind of books you keep by your bed. He notices what colors light up your face, or how you always pause before crossing a busy street. These fragments of who you are become etched into his memory because they matter to him. They matter because you matter. It's also a quiet form of respect. To remember is to value. He is saying, without speaking, I see you. I pay attention to what you say. You are not forgettable. That depth of care separates someone who is passing time from someone who truly holds you in their heart. Over time, these small acts of remembering create trust. You feel safe sharing more, knowing your words won't be dismissed or forgotten. You realize he's building a silent record of you, not in a controlling way, but in a tender one. Each recollection is proof that he listens, that he stores away pieces of you like treasures. And when he recalls them at the right moment, you feel an undeniable warmth, because his memory becomes a mirror that reflects back how significant you are. That's why remembering the little details isn't small at all. It's love written in quiet gestures. He finds excuses to spend time near you. He finds excuses to spend time near you. And at first it might feel casual, almost coincidental. He shows up where you are, offering some simple reason that doesn't sound forced, but the truth lies underneath. He just wants to be close. Maybe he lingers around your desk at work under the pretense of asking about a project even though he already knows the answer. Or he volunteers to help you with something small, carrying a bag, fixing a detail, offering a ride, when he could have easily avoided it. These excuses aren't about convenience. They're about proximity, about creating small moments where he can simply exist in your presence. You'll notice how often he chooses your company over others. If there's a group, somehow he ends up in the seat next to you. If there's a break in the day, he suggests grabbing coffee together, framing it like it's just an easy option, but inside it's deliberate. He wants to make the ordinary feel shared, turning plain minutes into something meaningful. Even when silence fills the space, he seems comfortable, as if being near you is enough. What makes this powerful is the effort hidden behind the excuses. Everyone is busy, everyone has places to be, yet he rearranges small parts of his schedule to carve out pieces of time with you. These aren't dramatic declarations, but they carry weight. They show that he values your presence enough to adjust his own life around it, even in subtle ways. Over time, these excuses start to feel less like chance and more like choice. You realize he isn't just passing by. He's seeking you out. And in those shared spaces, he builds connection, moment by moment, without needing to say much. His presence becomes familiar, reassuring, and quietly intentional. That's the secret behind it. The excuses aren't really excuses at all. They're a language of closeness, a silent way of saying, "I want you near me," without speaking the words aloud. His eyes search for you in crowded places. His eyes search for you in crowded places, and that is one of the purest giveaways of how much you mean to him. When the room is full, when laughter and conversations blend into noise, his attention cuts through everything else, landing on you. It's not about who's the loudest or who's standing at the center. It's about where his focus naturally drifts. His gaze finds you in a sea of faces, and that small act reveals more than words ever could. Sometimes it's a quick glance, like he's checking to see if you're okay. Other times, it lingers, soft, almost protective, like he feels anchored just by knowing where you are. If you catch his eyes, he may look away shyly, pretending it wasn't intentional. But the pattern repeats, over and over. In a crowded room, people scatter their attention everywhere, yet his keeps circling back to you. That repetition isn't random, it's instinct, a pull he can't quite hide. What makes this so powerful is that it shows priority. Without realizing it, he is saying, "You are the one who matters most here." His eyes betray his emotions, giving away what he might not say aloud. You might notice how he seems more at ease once he's found you, like your presence steadies him, or how he lights up, a subtle change in his expression, as if your existence in the room transforms the atmosphere for him. This searching is not just about attraction, it's about connection. It's his way of reassuring himself that you're nearby, that he's not alone in the crowd. Even if he's talking to someone else, even if he's across the room, a part of him is with you because his attention refuses to let go. When a man's eyes search for you in crowded places, it's one of the most honest signs of his feelings. Eyes don't lie. They reveal where the heart is focused. And in those unspoken glances, you'll see the truth. No matter how many people are around, for him, you are the center. He listens more than he talks when you speak. He listens more than he talks when you speak. And in a world full of noise, that's rare. Most people wait for their turn to reply, already shaping their next words while you're still finishing yours. But he doesn't. Instead, he pauses, giving you his full attention, as though nothing else matters in that moment. His silence isn't empty. It's intentional. It's a way of saying, what you have to say deserves space. You'll notice the way his eyes hold steady, the way his body leans slightly forward, showing that he's not just hearing your words but absorbing them. He doesn't interrupt, doesn't rush you along, even when you stumble or drift off topic. He gives you time. That patience is a kind of respect, and respect is a quiet form of love. Sometimes you'll see it in the details he remembers later. Something you mentioned weeks ago resurfaces in his actions or his words, reminding you that he wasn't just nodding out of politeness, he was listening with intent. He might recall your favorite comfort food when you're having a rough day, or bring up your opinion from a past conversation to show he valued it. Those are subtle echoes of his attention, proof that your voice isn't just background noise to him. There's also comfort in how he listens. When you vent about your struggles, he doesn't try to fix everything right away. Instead, he lets you speak, lets you unload, and only after you've finished does he respond. His quietness isn't disinterest. It's presence. It's the gift of being understood without judgment, the assurance that your words don't fall into an empty space. Listening more than talking is his way of giving you room to be yourself, fully and freely. And over time, that consistent act builds trust. You start to realize he's not just in your life to be heard, he's there to hear you. That difference changes everything, because when a man listens deeply, it's not just about words. It's about valuing the soul behind them. He subtly mirrors your actions and words. He subtly mirrors your actions and words, and at first you might not even notice. It's the way he picks up on your little habits without thinking about it, like sipping his drink right after you do, or leaning back when you lean back. Sometimes it's the words. Phrases you use slip into his vocabulary, as if your language has woven itself into his own. These quiet imitations aren't staged. They're subconscious signs that he's deeply connected to you. Mirroring is nature's way of saying, I feel close to you. Psychologists call it a reflection of rapport, but to you it feels more intimate than that. It means he's tuned in, so much that his body aligns with yours without him realizing. If you cross your legs, he might follow. If you laugh a certain way, he echoes it, not mockingly, but gently, as if sharing in the rhythm of your energy. These small reflections create harmony between you, making interactions feel natural, effortless, almost magnetic. It goes deeper than actions, too. You'll hear it in the way he remembers your stories and uses your tone when talking about them, or how he mimics your enthusiasm when you're excited. Even your opinions start to shape his, not because he's trying to impress you, but because your perspective has genuinely become important to him. It's subtle, almost hidden, but it reveals how deeply he values your presence. What's most telling is that this mirroring doesn't happen with everyone. He doesn't adjust himself for the crowd, but for you. His subconscious is telling on him. Your bond is strong enough that his mind and body align naturally with yours. It's a quiet signal of connection, one he might never verbalize, yet it shows in every shared gesture and repeated word. When a man mirrors you, it's his silent way of saying, I'm with you, I'm in tune with you. It's not loud, it's not flashy, but it's real. And in those mirrored actions, you'll see proof that he feels your presence so deeply, he can't help but reflect it back. He goes out of his way to make small sacrifices, and those sacrifices often appear so subtle that you might overlook them at first. It could be as simple as giving you the last piece of your favorite snack, even though he wanted it too. Or letting you choose the movie, the restaurant, the playlist, without making it seem like he's giving up anything. These aren't grand displays meant to be noticed by the world. They're quiet choices, born from the desire to put your comfort just a little higher than his own. What makes these sacrifices meaningful is their consistency. Anyone can do something sweet once in a while, but when a man repeatedly adjusts his routine, his comfort, or his preferences to make space for yours, it's not coincidence, it's intention. Maybe he leaves work a little earlier to walk you home, or stays up late to listen when you're having a rough night, even though he has an early morning. Maybe he drives out of his way to pick you up, pretending it's no trouble at all. These choices cost him time, energy, and convenience, but he does them anyway because to him, you're worth it. He rarely frames it as sacrifice either. He shrugs it off, tells you it's nothing, but inside it matters. It matters because he's silently rewriting his priorities, reshaping his life in small ways around your presence. He doesn't demand recognition, and he doesn't keep score. He gives because caring for you feels natural, almost instinctive. Over time, these sacrifices build trust. They show you that his love isn't just spoken, it's proven through action. They remind you that when challenges arise, he'll choose to stand beside you, even if it costs him something. That reliability, expressed through countless small acts, becomes a foundation you can lean on. A man who goes out of his way for you isn't just being kind. He's revealing where his heart lies. Each sacrifice, no matter how small, is his unspoken way of saying, your happiness matters to me more than my own comfort. And that's one of the clearest signs you hold a special place in his life. He checks on you without being asked. He checks on you without being asked. And that's where his care shines the brightest. It's not about grand declarations or dramatic gestures. It's in the quiet text that pops up out of nowhere. Did you get home safe? Or the call just to ask how your day went. He doesn't wait for you to reach out first. Instead, he takes the initiative, showing that your well-being is on his mind even when you're not around. That kind of thoughtfulness can't be faked. It comes from genuine concern. These check-ins aren't about control or keeping tabs. They're about presence. When someone checks on you without prompting, it's his way of saying, you're important to me. I want to know you're okay. Maybe he notices you were quieter than usual and asks if something's wrong. Maybe he remembers you had a meeting or an exam and sends a quick message wishing you luck. Even the simplest, have you eaten, carries a weight that goes beyond the words. It carries the unspoken care of someone who sees you as more than just a passing thought. What makes it powerful is that he does it consistently, not just when it's easy, not just when he has extra time, but even on his busiest days, he carves out a moment to check in. It shows that no matter what's happening in his world, you are woven into it. He doesn't need a reason, and he doesn't expect praise. The act itself is his reward, because your comfort matters that much to him. Over time, these small gestures build something stronger than words: trust. You start to feel safe, knowing someone is quietly watching over you, not because he has to, but because he wants to. And in those little moments of unexpected care, you realize that checking on you is really his way of saying, you matter to me, always. 8. He protects your feelings in group settings. He protects your feelings in group settings, and that speaks volumes about the depth of his care. When many people gather, conversations can turn sharp, jokes can go too far, and sometimes words sting without intention. In those moments, he becomes a quiet shield, stepping in with subtle gestures to make sure you're not left exposed. Maybe he changes the subject when he sees you growing uncomfortable, or throws in a light-hearted remark to ease the tension. Sometimes it's the way he gives you a reassuring glance across the room, silently telling you, I've got you. He's not loud about it, and he doesn't make a show of defending you for recognition. His goal isn't attention, it's protection. If someone's words cut too deep, he might step in to soften them, or later, when it's just the two of you, remind you not to take it to heart. He notices the flicker in your expression, the subtle drop in your tone, and reacts instantly, even if no one else does. That awareness shows he's attuned to your emotions, even in the middle of distractions and noise. It's also about the choices he makes with his own words. He won't join in on teasing that crosses a line, even if the group laughs. Instead, he positions himself on your side, making sure you don't feel isolated or belittled. When others might overlook your feelings in the rush of conversation, he notices and acts, quietly prioritizing your dignity. These moments may seem small, but they carry weight. They tell you that he values your emotional safety as much as your happiness. And when a man protects your feelings in public, it means he's not just caring when it's convenient. He's willing to stand with you, even if it's subtle, even if no one else sees. That quiet protection isn't about being a hero. It's about love disguised as awareness, as loyalty, as presence. In a world where many overlook, he notices. And in group settings where emotions can be fragile, he makes sure yours are never left unguarded. He makes future plans that include you. He makes future plans that include you, and that's one of the clearest signs that you hold a lasting place in his heart. It might not be grand gestures like planning a wedding or talking about forever right away. It often begins with small, casual remarks. He'll say things like, we should try that restaurant next month, or maybe we can take a trip there this summer. These little invitations are more than passing thoughts. They're glimpses into his vision of tomorrow, and in every version, you're there beside him. This habit shows intention. A man who isn't serious about you will keep his plans short-term, keeping the future vague and uncertain. But when he naturally places you into what's ahead, whether it's a simple weekend activity or a holiday months away, it's because he's imagining life with you as part of his routine. His world isn't just about me. It's quietly shifting into we. Over time, those casual remarks deepen. Maybe he talks about bigger milestones, saving for something together, moving to a new place, or introducing you to people important to him. Even when the plans aren't big, the thought behind them carries weight. He's not just thinking about now, he's building a path where your presence is constant. That's not something men do lightly. It reveals that he values stability with you, that he sees comfort in the idea of a shared life. What makes it so meaningful is the effort behind it. Future plans require foresight, energy, and commitment. By including you, he's showing he's willing to invest those things into the bond you share. It's not about words. It's about action. Proof that he doesn't see you as temporary. When a man makes future plans with you, he's quietly telling you that his heart is already walking alongside yours into tomorrow. And even if the plans are simple or spontaneous, the message remains the same. He wants you in his future, not just in his present. He notices your mood changes instantly. He notices your mood changes instantly, and that's not something everyone can do. Most people only catch the obvious signs: raised voices, tears, or silence that lingers too long. But he sees the shift before it reaches that point. Maybe it's the way your smile fades just slightly, the way your eyes lose a little light, or the pause in your laugh that no one else notices. To others, you seem fine. To him, something's different, and he can't ignore it. This awareness isn't about guessing, it's about attention. He's tuned in to you so much that even the smallest change in your tone or body language feels loud to him. It could be the hesitation in your reply, the way you sigh without realizing, or the moment you retreat into your thoughts. He doesn't let it pass. Instead, he checks in softly. Are you okay? Or, what's on your mind? The question itself may be simple, but the timing shows that he's been watching closely, that your inner world matters to him. It's also about the way he responds once he notices. He doesn't push or demand explanations. He adjusts his behavior to match your mood. If you're sad, he offers comfort, whether with words or silence. If you're stressed, he tries to ease your load, sometimes without you even asking. He adapts to you because he wants to be a steady presence, not an added weight. That instinct to respond is love in its most practical form: quiet, caring, and deeply human. The truth is, noticing your mood changes requires effort. It means he pays attention not just to what you say, but to who you are in every moment. He doesn't need a dramatic display to recognize when something's wrong. And that awareness builds trust, because you know you don't have to scream. To be heard, he hears you in silence. When a man can sense your shifts before anyone else, it shows that you're not just someone he sees, you're someone he truly understands. And in that instant recognition, you find the comfort of knowing you're deeply cared for. He shares his personal thoughts quietly. And that's one of the most vulnerable ways a man reveals how much you mean to him. Men often carry their inner world in silence. Fears, hopes, insecurities, and dreams tucked away where no one can touch them. But with you, something shifts. He doesn't announce it with a grand speech. He doesn't dramatize it. Instead, it comes out softly in the middle of a late-night conversation or during a quiet moment when no one else is listening. Maybe he tells you about a failure from his past, something he usually hides because it makes him feel weak. Or he shares the dream he's never said out loud, worried it might sound unrealistic. He lets you in on family struggles, private worries, or the simple thoughts that usually stay locked in his head. The fact that he trusts you with these pieces shows that you're not just another person in his life, you're the person he feels safe with. These confessions aren't casual, they're trust in motion. Every time he opens up, he's testing and proving that you won't use his words against him, that you won't dismiss what he's feeling. And when you listen, when you hold those thoughts gently, the bond between you deepens. He learns he can rest in your presence without wearing a mask. It's also important how he shares them. He doesn't need a spotlight, and he doesn't frame it as something dramatic. He simply lets it slip in between other moments, almost as if he can't hold it in anymore. Those quiet words often mean more than loud declarations because they're real, unpolished, and deeply personal. When a man trusts you with his inner voice, it's his way of saying, "I see you as my safe place." And that trust, once given, is one of the strongest signs of love. Because words can be shared with anyone, but personal thoughts, the ones he guards so tightly, are only given to someone who truly matters. He treats your happiness like it's his own. And that's one of the clearest signs of deep affection. It's not about grand gestures or expensive surprises. It's in the way he genuinely lights up when you're smiling. When something good happens to you, he celebrates as though it happened to him. Your wins become his wins, and your joy becomes his reward. There's no envy, no hesitation, just a pure desire to see you shine. You'll notice it in little ways. If he knows a small act will brighten your day, he does it without waiting for thanks. Maybe he sends a message with your favorite joke, buys you a coffee without asking, or goes out of his way to make sure you're comfortable when you're tired. These gestures aren't about recognition. They're about seeing your mood lift and feeling fulfilled by it. Your happiness feeds his own. It shows even more when you're struggling. He doesn't just try to fix things. He searches for ways to bring back your smile. If you're stressed, he takes something off your plate. If you're sad, he distracts you with something lighthearted or just sits beside you, sharing the weight of the silence. His goal isn't only to make you laugh, it's to make you feel safe enough to find joy again. Over time, you realize this isn't temporary. It's a pattern. He doesn't measure how much effort he puts in compared to what he gets back. He gives freely, because your happiness feels like part of his own well-being. That kind of selflessness is rare, and it reveals a love rooted not in possession, but in care. When a man treats your happiness like it's his own, it means you've become part of him in a way that can't be undone. He's not just present in your life. He's invested in it, deeply and quietly, finding his greatest satisfaction in the simple truth of your smile.